But the danger is when setbacks push them to double down on appearances, or here we go again, leaning into narcissistic patterns. We'll get into that just a tiny bit more in a second. All of this just to keep proving that there's somebody still chasing worth through accomplishments, even at the cost of authenticity. So, digging a little bit deeper into that, when they're under increased stress, their coping mechanisms are going to start breaking down, just like with anybody, really. So, threes are highly driven and focused on their achievements, right? Drink. No, I'll wait. So, the move to nine serves as a shutdown from their relentless pursuits. They tend to blend in more, but not too much because they still got to stand out. Yes, but they still lower their profiles and move at a slower pace. And for type nines, that we'll soon learn in a future episode, they're called the sloths of the Enneagram when they're in their disintegration levels or their unhealthy levels. So this really tracks. So type threes are in jobs, relationships, or just lives that they do not want. And they don't know their true desires because they've become increasingly disassociated from their lives. And they fill it with meaningless busy work or routines, just doing anything and everything at their best to not be affected by their life, which again is another clue because that you're in a stressful period of your life, because the type nines are asleep and numb to their anger and emotions, as again we'll learn. But it's a good clue for a type 3 moving into these unhealthy levels or just again in a stressful period. So they start to become complacent, and as we know, threes are excellent communicators, but in stress they become weirdly unresponsive. um, so because threes are so driven to achieve, failures and setbacks really do hit them hard. So when that happens, they tend to retreat further into disassociation, appearing burnout, apathetic, or just disengaged. Okay. Instead of facing their problems head on, they'd rather escape into their daydreams about that next big win or sale or whatnot. This just fuels their relentless pursuit to become that somebody. Again, reinforcing the core desire. Do you remember what that was? Yes, to be worthy, loved, and valued. But this move into the unhealthy nine space, the stress really starts to pile on. Um, Workaholism ramps up and the disassociation deepens until something eventually breaks. And as they slide even further down the levels of health, they may go to extreme lengths to maintain appearances, clinging to that illusion of being accomplished. And in trying to protect their self esteem, the N word, narcissistic tendencies can start to really creep in at this point, working tirelessly, but not out of joy, but to prove their worth. Okay. I know it's hard to think about the narcissist in your life that caused a lot of pain. But if you look underneath the armor, you'll see that same longing that every human has, which is to be valued. That doesn't excuse or justify their actions. They're still responsible for how they've treated you, but it does offer a roadmap as to why a three does what they do. And I don't know, that's something to chew on for a while, and maybe that can offer some consolation. But before we do move on to the next part, I have another great example of this is a great example of an unhealthy type 3 that I thought of the other night while I was trying to fall asleep. But have you guys seen the new Penguin on HBO? Colin Farrell played him, right? Farrell, Firth. I think Firth was Mr. Darcy, wasn't he? I don't know. The Irish one, the cute one. But it was an amazing depiction of a seriously unhealthy type 3. And I know the character is similar through the years of the depictions of his background and behaviors. Not that I've seen them, but I want to highlight this new one as an example because it really showcased the relationship he had with his mother, how he went to unimaginable lengths to gain her attention, approval, and validation. And there's this scene that he was presented with the truth. It's not really a spoiler, but just go watch it. It's so good. But in this scene, his mom she just breaks and she tells him off on how much she resented him, hated him, how exhausting he was, and hated him for specific reasons, which are the spoilers. But he's just really not listening. Like he's hearing it, but you can really see him wrestling with this truth. And the next thing that he says to her after all of that, like it's as if he didn't even hear a word. It was crazy. He was defending her, telling her how he will make the city his, that he's going to be on top and give her everything that she deserves. He just cannot face it. He's still believing that if he accomplishes all these things, that he'll be worthy of her love. So even after that scene, he still does these horrific things to make it happen, to prove to her that he's worthy of her love and affection. But that relationship he had with his mother is a giant clue for the type 3, which we'll talk more about in a future episode with childhood patterns. But this is a quick sneak peek that the type 3 is particularly closer to their mothers and more after the approval of their mother versus their father. It's not exact, like it's not an exact science. Obviously, it's not black and white, but it's just a really common pattern that the research have seen with type threes and the relationship that they had with their parents. So stay tuned for that. Like that's gonna be really nerdy or whatever. The other thing that I think we're gonna talk about in the future too is there is research done with each type and their mental health pathologies, which I'm debating on talking about because I'm not like an actual healthcare professional, but there is research out there that I do want to talk about and just start a conversation on. And I don't know, it's just like a cool little window into people's brains and all of that. So if I can put together a good episode on those, I'll do it. But still debating. Anyway, for the type 3, what's the work here? Let the mask drop. Face the feelings that you've buried and realize that you're valuable for who you are, not just what you do. Yeah. And of course, the journey is muddy, uncomfortable, terrifying, but it's also where real freedom lives. So, in summary, with all of that, it was a lot. In the healthy levels, they're authentic, humble, and aspiring achievers. I think that's worthy of a drink. Hold on. In their average range, they're image conscious, competitive, and just a workaholic. And in their unhealthy levels, deceptive, desperate to maintain appearances, and terrified of failure. So that was a lot. Ooh, my voice is starting to cricky crack. Yeah, no, that was a lot. So like take a deep breath and really, if you need to rewind, totally. I need all the listens I can get. But um yeah, really let that sink in and absorb and just kind of start connecting the dots of where it applies to your life, how it applied in the divorce that you went through or something, or the healing that you've gone through because of your awful childhood or something like that. So this is a really great roadmap that we can start to build for you for like a better future. Oh, I'm so happy to be here with you. Anyway, our next segment, we're going to talk about the wings. Yes. Fly away, sweet chariot. So yeah, your personality accessories. These are your wings. Think of them as like your flavor profiles for your main dish. They don't change your core type. They just give it a little bit of a twist. So the 3 with the 2 wing is known as the charmer. If you're a 3 with a 2 wing, you sprinkle in this warmth, generosity, and people-pleasing tendencies that the type 2 qualities are. You're the ultimate host, the kind who will just close a business deal and also remember that client's dog's birthday. So you blend the achiever's drive with the helper's heart. So cute, which makes you so magnetic in relationships and ridiculously persuasive. Yes, queen. But the flip side, sorry, you might overextend yourself chasing validation by being the most accomplished, and the most liked person in the room. That does sound exhausting, honestly. But the 3 with the 4 wing is the professional romantic. Oh, spicy. What? No, I'm not going there with that. But hey, girl, get yours. So if you are a 3 with a 4 wing, you bring in the introspection, creativity, and depth of the type 4. You're not just achieving for the sake of achievement. Now, that was a double take. Shot. But you want your success to be meaningful and uniquely yours. So you'll turn the marketing pitch into a performance or big fancy art design or just anything that's an extension of your soul. But the challenge for you here is you might wrestle with moodiness, self doubt, or the belief that you'll never quite measure up, even when everyone else is clapping for you. I've been around people like this, and I want to stop clapping and just give you a solid punch in the face so that you can like snap out of it. Like, do you hear us? We're proud of you. We love you. Yet you don't believe us. Like, meh. Anyway, so if you, whether your wing leans toward the connection of the 2 or the self expression of the 4, the key is balance. Okay. Your wings are here to support your growth, not run the show. And remember, your worth isn't in how you perform the wing role, it's in who you are when you drop the act entirely. All right. All right. Next, let's talk about how we can move forward. We've heard, we've listened, we've absorbed. Now what? We aren't here just to listen and walk away. We're here to take action, which, if you're a 3, girl, proud of you already. But yeah, if we're here to like have some actionable steps. So here are some journal prompts or just like some stuff to munch on if you're driving or something like that. First off, pause before performing. Okay. Are you doing this for you or the applause? That will be a tough one to really hone in, but start practicing. Also, let people see the process. Let them see the messy drafts, not just that final cut. I relate to that. I want it to look good. But also, rest without guilt. You are not, oop, that was a burp. Excuse me. You're not a productivity machine, okay? Integrate also your 9 growth arrow. Slow down, girl. Be present. Enjoy the vacation. Like, you don't need to go on the 8-mile run before everybody wakes up. And then, sorry, I hate running, is why I'm dogging on it a lot. But just enjoy it, okay? Please. And then notice your 6 stress arrow.